Okay, good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube, Iyun, Benzion. We're here on Kesubos, Daf Lamed Ches, number 38. It comes out of this discussion, the Mishnah and the Gemara. There's a very important distinction to be made when it comes to a Nara, a girl who's Nisarsa. She was Mureses, she got engaged, and then she got divorced before she got married, before Nisuin. And she's still a Nara, right? So if she goes afterwards and she gets raped, right? So the halacha is we pass on Rabbi Akiva on the Mishnah. There is a knas. You do have to pay a penalty. However, the penalty, the 50 shkalim, go to the girl herself and not to her father. Rabbi Akiva in the Brisa seems to indicate it still goes to the father. We don't pass like that. However, it's mentioned in the Brisa, mentioned in the Gemara over here, that when it comes to Kesef Kiddushin, right, the father can marry his daughter off young, both as a Tana and as a Nara. He can marry her off, and the Gemara learns in Kiddushin on Daf Dalid, right, that he's entitled to collect that money, right? He marries her off to someone, whatever money you stipulate for the Kiddushin, he's allowed to take that money, belongs to him. In a sense, his daughter belongs to him. The rights to marry his daughter off belong to him. So he takes the money. So even though she's a Nara, he could still take the money. And let's say he married her off in his Garsha and she got divorced, she goes back to his father, and her father can marry her off and can take the money for that. Doesn't go to her. What's the difference? Why? In the case of Knas, after the Gerushin, it goes to her. The Kesef Kiddushin retains the father. So, the Mishnah, the last parak in Mesechus Nedarim, right, Nara Murasa, it talks about the stage of Eris, and after she becomes engaged, whose Rishus is she in? Whose domain is she in? So, as we mentioned, when it comes to Hilchos Dine Maminis, there's something called Shalo, and there's something called Bershusa. Shalo means that I own the physical property over here, the physical item, or a physical girl, right? The father is bias over the girl, over the woman. And then there's Rishusa, the domain, which is the value. I own, she's in my domain, I own the value, the rights to that person, the rights to that woman. So before a woman is engaged to anybody, she's completely both Shalo and Rishusa in the Rishus of her father. However, after the Erisin, the first Mishnah, Nara Murasa, says that both her father and the Aris have to be made for her Nadarim. Because, in a sense, it's split now, right? She's still in the house of her father, still in Rishusa with her father, the domain of her father. However, the Shalom belongs to the Aris, the person who is engaged to. Therefore, they both have to be made for a neder. If they want to have her neder, she makes a neder, it has to be annulled by both of them. So what happens if she's Nisarsa and then she's Nisgarsha? She gets divorced. So after Erisin, she already left the Shalom of her father. She's still in the domain of her father. So when she's Nisgarsha, she doesn't go back to the Shalom of her father. Just the Shalom of the Aros is gone because he gave her a divorce. So the Shalom belongs to her. She's a Nara. If she's a Kana, it might be different. But she's a Nara. Shalom belongs to her, retains that Nara. She's mature enough. She's a Bat Mitzvah girl. She retains the Shalom. The Rishusa belongs to her father still. That's the difference. By Kesef Kiddushin is not, I don't get, the father doesn't get Kesef Kiddushin because he has the Shalom of the woman, of his daughter. He has the rights, like the Torah says, he has the right to sell her as an Amma Ivriya, or he has rights to marry her off. He has the rights, the financial rights over her. It's Bershus, so the Kesef Kiddushin is dependent on the Rishus, whose Rishus she's in. And after she never left the Rishus of her father, so he still retains the Kesef Kiddushin. However, when it comes to the Knas, we're going to talk more about this, the Knas for violating a Nara, Kesef Yishkol Kamora Psulos, it's also the same value for a Ksuba. So it's the price for virginity over here. And that virginity is something which belongs to the goof. It's the psulim. It's measured in the psulim, the hymen in the girl. And that's measured in the shalom. So therefore, when she's engaged, the shalom belongs to the aris, right? However, once they get gerushin, so the payment for knas, which is the same thing, it's the price for the virginity. When you rape her, you're basically paying the ksuba. That's what you're doing, because you have to marry her. So we'll see how it serves as maybe a ksuba also, the payment. But it's basically the price for the virginity, and that belongs to the girl. So after the gerushin, and that's determined in the shalom, the body of the girl. The psuba is in the body of the girl. The father loses that shalom once she gets engaged, and he never gets it back. If she's a nara, he never gets it back. Since he never gets it back, the only thing he can still have is the Kesef Kiddushin, in which he has the domain over the girl, the rights to the Mekadesh her, but he does not, the rights over her body or virginity, Shalom, go to her. If she's no longer married to the Arch of the Gerushin, that reverts back to her herself, and therefore she's the one who collects the Knas, not her father. That would be the explanation of the distinction. I hope you enjoyed. See you in the next one.